Welcome to this new episode of Continuum Gaming, and in this episode we are going to talk about Windows 10 Mobile again. Better to say, we are going to play 3 different games for Windows 10 Mobile. As you all know, it's harder now to get the different apps and stuff like that from the store, because they are no longer in the store. In the end they are, but they are not going to be more or less broadcasted by Microsoft anymore. So if you want to play all these games I'm going to show you in this episode, please have a look in the description box and of course up there, because there I'm telling you how you can still get those and how you can still play them on your smartphone. And of course, once you installed it, everything is the same. You can just use them as always, as before, and you should be fine to use them then. But you will have to get the link down below from this description box, and you will have to watch the video on how to use that link to get the app for this smartphone. The smartphone we are talking about, of course, is in this case a Windows 10 mobile smartphone. This is a Lumia 950 XL. There are a couple others, 950 for instance, and you could have a 650 probably, and some others which are still running with Windows 10 Mobile, of course, but it's of course a legacy system, so you might no longer use this as your daily driver, probably for years now. Anyway, if you want to, you can have a look at that and have play these different games on there with Continuum, because this is a Continuum enabled smartphone. Continuum is a technology where you can see, like this one, that we have more or less a desktop-like experience, but it's going to be created by the smartphone itself, which is a pretty neat thing to have. I really like that, especially because you can use it, for instance, with something like this mouse. This is a Bluetooth mouse which I just connected to my smartphone, and like that I'm able to really have this mouse pointer going around. I can have a foldable keyboard like this one, or any other Bluetooth type of keyboard, or even USB type keyboards, depending on what kind of setup you are running. Which is going to be connected, and as you can see, if I for instance hit the menu button here, you can see it's going to be recognized and open up the Windows 10 mobile smartphone start menu, or whatever you want to call it, because in this kind of fashion here, it's more or less a start menu. If you want to know more about all this, please have a look at the corner there. There are a couple of other videos where I'm talking more in depth about all these technologies. So which kind of 3 games we are going to play in this episode? The 3 games are going to be Dinosaur Simulation, Stick Pick, and 15 Seconds to Live. My name is Gerald. As always, I'm here more or less using this smartphone, which is connected to the display dock, which is standing at the side here. And the display dock itself is connected to my TV. Everything else is really just the smartphone, so I'm not using any kind of laptop or whatever to use all this. And yeah, that's more or less what we are going to have a look at in this episode. Of course, these 3 games are going to be the ones we are going to play. So let's start with the first game. The first game is called Dinosaur Simulation. It's a pretty funny one, more or less, because you are really flying a flying dinosaur, so one of those flying dinosaurs, and you have to go through different kinds of hoops and stuff like that, and just try to more or less solve the puzzle with that. Problem about all of this, of course, is that we will have to go to the mirror mode, because this is not a Windows 10 mobile enabled app we are going to play here, or the game we are going to play, but it's going to be one which we have to use in the mirror mode. And if you want to do that, you will have to go to your smartphone. As you can see, we have more or less a touchpad now here, because we're in this mode. The smartphone is more or less a touchpad. You can use it as a mouse pointer and use it really like a touchpad. And if I go to the 3-point menu up there, I can go to the display settings, and if I now scroll down a little to the advanced settings, I have the option to switch over to this option, which is mirror the display stuff. So we are going to have this display now on the big screen. Like that, we don't have this desktop-like experience anymore, but really the one which is on the smartphone itself. Other than that, everything should be fine. I'm going to use my mouse and stuff like that still, because it's still possible to use all that. And for that, I'm just going to go to my all apps list at this point, go down here, and as you can see, we have a couple of them here already. This is the first one we want to play, so I'm just going to activate this Green Dinosaur Simulation. I'm going to play this more or less on my smartphone because it's just nicer to play it with the touch controls and stuff like that. But you could play it with your mouse too if you wanted to. But yeah, I'm not that keen on doing that. We can try it out. Maybe I will stay. I'm not sure. But as you can see, this is already the app. This is the guy you are going to fly around more or less later on. And as you can see, we have a couple of different options here. I'm going to turn around to play this game. Just so that I'm at least not a total loser in this game, which is probably going to be the case. Anyway, as you can see, a nice little menu here. We can go to the settings in this case. And in the settings, there's not much to see. We have just the option to turn off the sound and the music, so that, yeah, more or less nothing is hindering you if you want to do that. I don't see a real reason to do it because it's fine to use it like this. And yeah, so if I click play now, you can see I already played the first level. There are a couple of them, and I'm going to go with let's play the first level for now. Just to show you what's going on, you will have to more or less glide through the different hoops you are going to see. There are loops where you are going to fly through more or less, and that is more or less what you are going to do. It's a little bit hard to use it with any other kind of part. As you can see, we have this flying dinosaur. This is you. If you tap, you will be going to play this game already. This is going to be the button to go up and down, so left and right, and everything else is more or less the gyroscope. And I will try it now to play it if I'm even able to use anything else. And as you can see, no, it's not going to work. So just to make sure that we are restarting this, otherwise I will have a little bit of a problem here. So I'm going to press replay, and I'm just going to use my smartphone like this to play all this. So I'm just going to set that one up. It should reload, hopefully. Yeah, there we are. And now I just can do this, and as you can see, now depending on how I'm going to hold my my smartphone, it's going to fly through all of this. As you can see, if you want to go up and down, so only the left and right movement is more or less done with your smartphone. Up and down has to be done, or with a gyroscope, better to say. Of course, everything is done by the smartphone here. And up and down has to be done by the buttons I'm going to use here. And as you can see, there is this aim up there, looking more or less like a dragon for some reason, I'm not sure. But the icon is telling you, hey, you still have to go and fly through a couple of those hoops. Make sure that you get more or less ready to use this controls, because you will of course need them a lot more in the following levels in this case. And if I just fly around here, you can already see it's sometimes a little bit hard to do. What you can see is that if you are going through one of the hoops, it's going to be very dark for a while, because that darkness is more or less telling you, okay, you haven't unlocked this one. And if you want to increase the speed, that is possible too. Sometimes a little bit hard to do everything here at the same time. But as you can see now, you should have a little bit of a higher speed by just using this little slider here. And as you can see, we got all the different parts here on, and it should be fine and you can use it. Somehow there's this little icon telling you how long you are where, and it's still going, but it doesn't matter because it's not really using any kind of other stuff than the points at the end, so everything is fine. Next would be to go to next or to the main menu. I'm going to go to the main menu, and yeah, now you can really play the other game, other levels here, and it's working pretty fine, I would say. If you like this kind of flying game, yeah, that's a pretty nice option there. I highly recommend you to use the smartphone for this, so not use it on the big screen, or at least use it in this way on the big screen. You can of course go with, for instance, the wireless approach too. There's another video I'm going to post up there. where you can see how to use a wireless approach, because that's possible too. You don't have to use something like I am here, but the good thing about what I am using here, this wired solution, is that you don't have to charge your smartphone after a while, because it's going to be charged at the same time as you're playing. That's the good thing. Okay, so let's go out here for now. I'm just going to go to my all apps list again. And of course, I highly recommend you, if you're using this, to get rid of a couple of those options here, just to make sure that you have the full power and potential of the smartphone to play these games. Because sometimes it's an older smartphone, so you sometimes will have to get rid of them just to play those games. So the next game we are going to play is called Stick Pick, and it's a nice little game where you more or less have, what is it? It's more or less some kind of a blend between some kind of a puzzle game and sometimes of a reaction game maybe. So let's have a look at that and how to play that. For that I will have to search first, because it's already on my smartphone for a longer time. I'm going to go in here and write it in the right way, hopefully. And as you already can see, okay, we have a problem here because we can't really use any of those at the moment. And the reason for that is that it's named differently. That's sometimes the case. I don't know why it's just like that. Sometimes in the store itself it has a different name than, for instance, if you're installing it. For that, if you really run into this kind of trouble sometimes, you will have to go to your store, because the store itself isn't working for the pages you are accessing there, but it's still working for what you already have installed, and you can even reinstall something from your library and stuff like that. So go to this button up there, now go to my library, and now I'm just going to search for this game in the library more or less, and we should be fine and should be able to play it. So give me a sec and I will be back. Yeah, and it took quite a while, but after a while I found it. As you can see, Stick Pick HD is there, and I click on Start to really get into the game. Pretty hard sometimes to find some stuff, but in this case I really did. So let's see what this game is all about. As mentioned before, it's more or less like a small little puzzle reaction game, whatever. Because you're going to have to bring the pig, which is standing there, a little small black ninja pig in the end, to the next platform. And the next platform is going to be reachable by more or less a stick you're going to use for that. As you can see, he's going to tell you what to do. It's a really bad translation in German, so you won't be... it's pretty hard to understand what they are trying to tell you. But anyway, it's easy to understand, even so you don't know what you are doing. So I'm just going to skip those. And as you can see, this is a little small pig you're going to use, and he needs to go there. And in the end, if you are pressing on the screen now, there's going to be more or less a stick, which is going to rise at height more or less, and you will have to determine that it's really more or less exactly the gap you want to reach here. And if you did that, then the pig can walk over there and it's fine, and you are at the next platform and you get 1 point. In the end, there are a couple of other things here, like for instance there's a flight part, which will help you if you are dying more or less, because you mismatch the size of the stick you are using here to go over there. And so I'm just going to show you how this is working. This was too long. I'm going to fly over, but the good thing is I still have this little flight part, so there was this plane which was more or less helping me. And now same thing, maybe, because now I really got down. I'm not exactly sure when this is going to happen. I think it's only going to happen if you overestimate, but I'm not sure. There are a couple of different instances where something like that is happening. But as you can see, you really have just to go up there, and if you let loose of the screen more or less, then he's going to put the bridge over there, and if it's over, you're going to fall down. If it's under, you're going to fall down. Best thing that can happen is that you really match more or less this small part here, the red part, because that is giving you extra points. And other thing that can happen is that you can switch more or less where you're running at the stick. You don't have to run over it, you can run under it too. Then you will have to make sure that you're not running against this obstacle more or less, which is coming then. But the good thing is you can, for instance, get those apples if you really match it right. So let's do it like that. As you can see, I really got the red part, which is a good thing. And now we can go over there. Let's see. And if, as you can see, by tipping, I can more or less switch the way I'm running over there. And so after a while, like this, you can more or less get more apples and stuff like that, because apples are often down below here and you will have to switch the lanes to get those apples if you want to. And now the whole thing is to get more or less a hang of it, how far you will have to go over there, and it doesn't really matter where you are going to land on the stick, you just have to be on this bridge stick, whatever. This, for instance, is one of the harder ones because it really, as you can see, it really is hard to still stay there. But as you can see, I had 7 points now and we won more or less because there's no end point or something. You can go on, get more and more points, and this is more or less all that it is to there, because there's this part here where you could, for instance, go in. But don't accept this to work very well or something because it's no longer in use. Okay, is there more to it? I'm not sure. I think that is more or less all I can tell you about this game. It's a pretty nice one if you like this kind of puzzle stuff, which has a little bit of a plus more or less in there. So just try it out. It's available down below with the link and with the description I gave you in the point up there. So in the info point there you will find how to install this game on your smartphone. Other than that, let's go out, get rid of this again, as mentioned before. And there you already could see why I couldn't find it in my apps list, because it's some kind of a Chinese sign there, which is a little bit hard to find if you don't know where to watch for it. Okay, so let's go and get rid of that. Go over here. And now the last in our episode is going to be, give me a sec, 15 seconds to live. 15 seconds to live is a small little game where you are going to try to, more or less outmaneuver any kind of asteroids and stuff like that. So I'm going to click on that. Again, I highly recommend you to use your smartphone to play this game. After a while it will load, and then we are going to fly with more or less a small little spaceship through different kinds of asteroids coming there. We are trying to get, going to try to get different kinds of points which are flying at us, and of course you can't hit one of the asteroids there. There we go. Pretty easy to understand game, pretty hard to master, and it's 3D as you can see. And the 15 seconds are more or less really something they're telling you there, and it's more or less right. These parts here, the green ones, are more or less the points you are going to collect, and of course you can't hit one of the asteroids there. So, go in, you are a simple pilot, and you should really not hit the asteroids. You will only lose 5 seconds of your life, more or less, if you do that, but now you can just move around here by pressing somewhere on the screen, and now you just have to try to stay alive by more or less avoiding all the asteroids, going up and down. You can't fire or anything, so you really have to just avoid everything here, and if you can stay for 15 seconds alive, more or less, it's a good thing, and you have a new high score. This is all this game is all about. You're going to fly around 15 seconds more or less, all the time. Try to avoid all the obstacles there and get as many points as you can, and then you're just going to start over. You're not really gaming over or something because it's 15 seconds, and you can more or less charge them up with some of the points and stuff like that, but still, that is how the game is working. And you're losing, of course, 5 seconds if you are hitting one of the asteroids. So try it out. I think it's a nice little game if you really have only a few seconds to play because you are just waiting for something and you just want a little bit of stress release or something, then this is a great one. get it down below from the commentary section, or better to say from the description box of the video, and you should be able to really get the game then with, as mentioned before, the little instruction I gave you in this other video. Other than that, thank you for watching, thank you for listening. I hope you had a great time with these apps. If so, please let me know, and if you have any kind of questions, comments or whatever, put them down below into the commentary section, of course. If you didn't subscribe to the channel, please do that now. Of course, as you know, many of the videos we are going to have on the channel are about Selfish OS, which is a other mobile system from Europe, so you can use really a Europe-based smartphone system, which is still able to use Android apps but has better privacy and of course is based in Europe. So if you want to download that, please try it out. More information can be found in there too, because it's only available for a couple of different smartphones in the end, so devices. But make sure to check that out if you want to buy a new one, for instance, or if you are still unsure where to go after Windows 10 Mobile, of course. Other than that, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, see you in the next episode, and bye. Bye!